Alright then people, it's nighttime, it's 11:54. But this video is not the business thing, so that will get later on because right now I'm designing it. So from what the feedbacks I got is that I want to thank y'all for the feedback. I love and the support and all of that. So from these two, you guys choose this, but since I'm choosing this, I have to make the design much better. So I like this, so this gets cancelled. So thank you guys for your feedback. I appreciate it. So this one hits the spot. This flamingo hits the spot. This bird, out of the second creation that looked like a goon, got chosen. So thank you. I just want to say thank you. Now, um, there are times where we have thinking moments, and I just want to share this out to y'all listen. Um, how did life begin? So no, 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 no. Okay, so how did life begin? No, I do not do anything. I just question myself because every time I go to sleep, I'm always that thinker that thinks, oh, how am I gonna handle this and that? Okay, if you overthink, then it's best to rest and do something else that can help you, even if you get something happens to you like where this thing that don't overcome it. If all right, so let's see. If something, if like example, if you get jealous or something, then don't let that jealousy overcome you. Don't, even if it hits, just don't. But yeah, let's get back to the point where I was going. So where did life begin? Everyone is asking that question. It's actually the unknown question to be answered. So here's what I think. It's really, it's really hard to know if life began, whether the Big Bang happened or God created it. So here's what I think. Oh, and by the way, I'm not saying that. No, by the way, I'm not saying that I don't believe in God, but here's what I think. Out of so far from what I can get from, I believe of the Earth been around here 8.6 millions. All right. So here's what I believe. I think the Adam and Eve was a story. It was a story written. I think they weren't the two because then somehow you have science that figure out evolution happened, and of course science. So let me get to the history of everything, basically explaining in this long video. Hopefully it's not 18 minutes because it's like almost 12. So yeah, you have people who believe that the Adam and Eve were the original human beings, the very first that was created by God. Now, the real question is, how did those two humans know if it was God right there? Hmm? And they'd be like, oh, it's because it's tone. So how do we know if it's actually God or something else? And then you have science that came up with evolution, in which they said that God created all the planet, and then you have scientists saying that these meteorites they construct, they flushed it inside, and then created what's called now Earth, in which it took long. The temperature was different, and then it was very hot and all of that. Then came these little microscope things, or microscope. My bad. I'm learning. Came these little, those little micro things, and then it went from what's called to this bacteria or something else like that, and then it evolved to an animal, which then that animal became, all right. So I think it's, if I'm not wrong, I think it's the animal became to this certain type of animal species, something. It became a fish, and then from a fish it evolved into some type of reptilian lizard or something else like that. And then after that reptilian evolved, I think it became a mammal, or what seems to be a monkey or apes back then. I don't know what they're called. So they basically involved life like that. And remember, the animals were on land because of the temperature that changed, and it was really the atmosphere wasn't back like millions and millions years. The atmosphere wasn't very well protected. That means, if let's say this, if I were to walk out, I would have automatically died because that thing would have burned or freaking destroy my skin or something. So it took long. So then they're saying that these animals came up, and then the tree thing happened, all of that. So how is it that in religion they said that Adam and Eve was the original humans, and then you have evolution right here saying that, oh, is that human evolved from an animal to this? So which is which? That's confusing part. So that's confusing. Like, how did life begin? Whether it was two people that was created by God, or was it something that was created by what seems to be the unknown reasoning? But let's get to the point. Decades and decades later years has passed by, and then you have the ancient Roman, and then you have all of this Vikings and all of that. So you have Egypt and all that. So the how did okay? So they're saying that the human had evolved, and the human thing and Adam and Eve were in Africa, but so I'm not sure if it's right or wrong. I still need to get to that. So they're saying that. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I have time. Oh, it's 12. I better get sleepy, so I'll probably sleep at 1. Just kidding. Alright, so I'm gonna show you in Google Maps because. Oh my god, it won't let me expand. Wow. It won't even let me go. Wow, I won't. So, they're saying that it started somewhere around here in Africa. If you guys can see it. Hopefully. Wait. Focus. Focus. So, I guess I'm gonna have to be a geographic person right now. So they're saying that it started around here. Hold, can you see it? So it say that the human population or the thing started around here, and then it spread around to Africa, to Egypt, and then these places it spread more. So I'm to a point where if that was the original place, then how the hell did it got here then? Because so humans more and more populated. Well, okay, so here's what I learned is that here's an interesting fact is that back then I believe in the medieval times or something, women picked the strongest man while the weakest man died. They had to pick the alpha. So to that point, I think this is where humans really got strong. So the strongest human live while the weakest human survive being smart and all of that. So I'm not calling everyone weak or strong. I'm just saying that I believe that our ancestors had to pick the strongest alpha to ever mankind. So yeah, it somehow it evolved from what Africa to all of this, and then it got to here. I thought my brother was gonna enter. Holy shoot! Um, it spread more and more, and then went to France. So then, I guess it went to Saudi Arabia and then more and more has expanded, taken in the land. And then that's where it all began, the medieval ancient times. So you had the Greek, the Italy, and then all of these happened, the ancient times. So then, meanwhile, that happened, more people from Asia started expanding straight to what's now known as China, Korea, and Japanese. So the real question is how can a small population automatically grow so fast that yet these people are smart and strong, have these whole big brains and all of that? Well, I guess the more you expand, the more it creates. So they started building roads and all of these, and that's when this was the first world, alright? Because the second world, I'll get to that later on. So the first world expand more and more, and then you have these people like Julius Caesar, and then Augustus. You have Da Vinci, and then all of this. Well, Da Vinci's later on. Then you have the Emperor of, I forgot what's his name. I think I forgot I learned this, but you had these samurais and all of these. So how can those go? How can time fly by fast? And then you have these smart people and all of that. You had weapons and all of that. So let's go. All right, so let's skip to the point. The Roman thing collapsed around I think AC or DC, and then everything was stabilized. And then in Asia, they were fighting about which this and that had a Congress and power and all of that. And then you have good is bad, and then bad is good. I like that. And then you have Japanese, the rising sun. Okay, So I think the Korea is good is bad, and then bad is good. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, you can put in a comment. And then Japanese is the rising sun. China is more of this the power or something. I don't memorize that much. So then, I basically teach you guys history. So there's still the question: how did life begin? So then you have brilliant ass people who created bridge and boat. The person who created the boat, I don't know, but then you have that person who created the boat, and how, how? All right, I'm about to do your read. How is it possible? How is it possible that they advance? How? Because we humans are smart. Every humans are smart around the world. Every human, of course, that's true. Because the more we involve, the more we get big brain. The big brain, the better. So then, tomorrow, actually today is Christopher Columbus Day, and I had to ask my question: what he did was right or wrong? And to be honest, I'm probably gonna get hated or something. What he did was actually right. Oh, Irvin, so you're saying that Christopher Columbus, the rapist who imperialized? Okay, I understand that. I know that's wrong. Of course, that's wrong because he imperialized the he imperialized was North America. Actually, he didn't went to North America first. He went to the Bahamas. From the Bahamas, he landed on America. So what he did was right, and what he did was wrong. And people are like saying, "How can you agree with a rapist and an imperialism person?" Okay, look, I don't agree on that. That's very wrong, and it's very wrong for him to do that. But what he did is that he bought something that later on made these what we have is technology, lights, and all of that. Remember, Thomas Edison created the light bulb. And then you have the Industrial Revolution that they have these whole machines that Europe and everything were involved. So how can this person, Christopher Columbus, get confused saying that he landed on India but then landed on the Bahamas? How can one person change the whole world? Now, you guys answering, how did Christopher Columbus change the whole world? Well, to be honest, since that happened, he brought slavery into America, which was bad, and then slavery, this and that happened. And then you had, okay, so hold up, before Christopher Columbus came, let me go back. You see, so the group right here in Mexico, if I'm not wrong, I think you got the Mayans or Aztec, I don't know where the heck they at. You had the Mayans and Aztecs here, if I'm not wrong, somewhere around here. So these people actually, they, the Aztec and Mayans were actually normal people until Christopher Columbus came, and then it came Spain, French, and the other, I don't know what was it. So the Mayans in Italy's were the Mayans, the Mayans in Italy, the Mayans and the Aztecs were living a peaceful life. Somehow, they're gone. How can, how can those Mayans be so smart? They created their own town and all of that. How can they be gone, right? Well, you see, when Christopher Columbus landed, the whole thing changed. It took one man to change the whole world. And because of that, Christopher Columbus found good things in that. And then came in the United Kingdom, if I'm not wrong. And then the independence thing happened. They wanted to fight to be their own country, this and that. The Boston Tea Party happened. And then later on, Civil War broke out. Abraham Lincoln happened. Abraham Lincoln got assassinated. Slavery trade stopped. And then it still kept on going, kept on going, kept on going. And then Spain, and Spain, like their own people, conquered the land, and then they had an independence, which is um, which is 16 de septiembre, or September 16, where I think most of the countries here declared their independence. It's Mexico, if I'm not wrong, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and then the other countries that they claimed their independence was on the 15th. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I get confused too much. So then, how can this happen? Well, the real question is, how did everything happen? Well, that's my brother right there. Say hi. All right. So, how can everything happen? All right. How can it took one person to change the whole world? How? It questions me to this day. Okay, actually, it's been questioning me since what I figured out when Christopher Columbus came, this and that. Because what he he did what's good, in which we have Thomas, like I said, Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, all of these amazing people. And it took one person to come in here, and then you have the United States were fighting for their own independence, like I said, this and that. The Louisiana Purchase, the California missions, all of these. So, how? 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 I'm questioning to myself, how did this life begin? Did it begin because of something? So, and then what? Skip on later years. You had the Titanic. There was the UK, and then you have World War One. World War One happened because of, I think, in Austin or something. They got into a fight, and then this and that because they killed a guy who was in the car or something else like that. And then World War One happened. They got mad, like, "Oh, what's up, dude? What you did to him?" And and then they both got into a fight. They started beefing, and then later on, you had the Great Depression, which happened in America, and all of this. And then a lot of people were suffering jobs. They couldn't get jobs and all of that. And then you have World War Two, where Hitler, the dictator, not only did he kill Jewish, he killed gay people, and then he killed. I think he only let the blue eyes live or something. This dude, and not just him, also the Japanese there. All right, so I'm gonna say something that may be messed up to Japanese people. I'm sorry, but let's go. That's gonna be later on though. So Japan, back then Japan, the emperor was not good. He wanted to expand more, and then the German Nazis, they want to expand more. Or Hitler himself, he wanted to expand more and more, and then it affected the whole thing. So how did this happen? War, and then you have the Wing brothers who created who created these flying machines, and then you had the car and all of that. You had all of these, like, what the hell? How is it that from the beginning of life we started from stone to stick to now modern advanced technology like the laptop I'm using right now, these earbuds, the microphone I have right here that was used for class. How? How? How is it possible? But anyways, let's get back to the point. Yeah, World War Two happened, and then Hitler. Actually, if Hitler did win more, he probably would have get here already. We would have speaking something different, all of that. The Japanese people decided to move because of what was going on. They moved to America. Pearl Harbor happened, and then the United States of America got really pissed, and then they're like, okay, we better do something. They didn't ask to join war, but since Japanese decided to destroy their harbor, the U.S. Arizona, something else like that, which was very important to them. And then somehow you had the most monster and brilliant guy who created the atomic bomb. Before I do get in though, so let me see what happens. If I can remember, I think if I can remember World War Two, they expand more and more. Hitler invaded Poland, and then he invaded France. Then the Berlin Wall happened, if I'm not wrong. And then meanwhile, Japan wanted to expand more from China to the Philippines. No, the Philippines and Malaysians. And then the UK or something else. The Soviet Union, damn, no one wants to mess with that, decided to fight back. So then they did something with America, something else like that. They fight back. Then you have the Silos. I don't know how the anthem goes. That's the Soviet Union anthem. And then this and that. The United States decided to create an idea, the atomic bomb, which the guy, he was a monster, but also smart as hell. Like, really, he combined these atomic bomb. I think it was Little Boy and Fat Boy, but before all that happened, he tested it on New Mexico. And then later on, so here's what I heard is that the bombs were going to be used for the Nazis, but since the Nazis started losing, Hitler decided to commit suicide. He shot himself, por pendejo. He did this and that, and then the United States. So when the Nazis were going down, their economy started going down. The United States still saw one problem: Japan. So this is where a question whether the atomic bomb, the two small boy and fat boy, if I'm not wrong, was a good idea to drop. Now I know this is gonna be messed up, but I'm sorry to use this, but it was best for what they did. Yes, it was a good idea to drop Irvin, but a lot of Japanese people, I know, I'm sorry, but because of that, Japan expanded more and they became what's now called the top culture. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the United States, I think we wouldn't have Animate, or we wouldn't have these popular places like Tokyo and all of that. So, what the atomic bomb did is that it changed not only. Okay, so the United States, when they had the atomic bomb, not only did it change Japan, but every country saw that and they'd be like, okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to write this down. Okay, so they use this and that. Then they got the whole idea, Russia, and then the whole thing happened, and then I know it's messed up that they dropped the two atomic bomb, but it was for the best, because if they didn't, Japan would have probably expanded more, killing more of the southern, all of that, and they probably would have taken part of the whole entire map of Asia. Probably. Okay, so I'm not wrong, because then the Soviet Union was still up there, but I don't know if they did something. Oh God, I'm probably gonna take that out. Yes, I'm gonna start showing, because he does some things that I was just like, what are you doing? Okay, so yeah, so this and that happened, and then you have the Cuban Missile Crisis, in which JFK and all of that happened. If I'm not wrong, I think the events that happened during World War II were this and that. Let me see. So there was the Korean. No, the Korean War was later on after this, and then Vietnam War was in the Cold War era. So something else happened like that, and then now we're getting to a point. So then JFK saw that the Cuban Missile Crisis thing was going on, that the Russia sent some missiles to something else like that. And then you have Fidel Castro, if I'm not wrong. I think he wanted to do something. Then they tried to assassinate it, but they failed, and I don't know. Then JFK got shot, and then internet was introduced in the 1980 something, and then this and that, and then like, what the hell? How did it all happen? And then 1990 something, you had the LGBTQ thing, the rights and all of that. You have the 1992 Los Angeles riot, and then you have the fall and all of this. Then 2000 is the internet, and then 2001 September 11 attack was the Al Qaeda group, and then after that came in the Microsoft, and then the 2005 came in, I don't know of any event, Hurricane Katrina, which damaged the United States, and then 2011 Fukushima, Japan earthquake happened. Then they had more events, and then 2015, if I'm not wrong, the Paris shooting happened. What else happened? Let's see. 2016, the election, Trump won. Everyone was very, very, very sad. And to be honest, when Trump won, the election is later on, by the way. I think we're 23 days away. And then, to be honest, it was actually kind of funny for the election, because when Trump won, I saw the face of every Democrat who were crying. I was like, it's because they were making Trump look bad. And to be honest, when you make a person look bad, you never know if somehow they can win. Somehow they can. It's a comeback. It's basically karma. And then 2017, then 2018 happened, 2019, then 2020. 2019, COVID-19 happened from a bad soup, in which this and that happened. And then 2020, which is the worst year. I mean, the year hasn't finished, but I'm still calling it worse because Kobe Bryant death. Wow, respect. Then you have the George Floyd thing, the Black Lives Matter destroying, rioting, all of that. And then you have a war that's going on between the Asian countries, something else like that, where they're saying that some war going on, they want to start a war. And then you have me doing this video wondering how did life begin? And speaking of which, 25 minutes and then 28 seconds. How did life begin? Well, what I explained to you was the history of every world. I think it wasn't fully. There's other videos that has more better than me. They probably know more than what I acknowledge, than what I hear. So how did life begin? Well, it's two options. One, you can believe in God, and then you have people saying, well, the Bible was a written book. Okay, so if it was a written book, then what does that mean? Does that mean is there a God or something? And then you have the scientists that believe in this, that, okay, so here's what happened and what they believe, that this happened and that. So, to be honest, let me ask you, if you want to know how life began, then I guess you just say the Big Bang happened. What created the Big Bang? Then another explosion of a centimeter happened. What created that centimeter? The universe. Well, the universe isn't the Big Bang, of course it is. So, what happened is that we're having ideas, okay, so how did everything happen? Well, what I explained to you was basically the whole world history. So, how did the world begin? The day you were born. That's how the world began. The day you were literally born, your mind was open, all of that, and then that's it. You were born like that. You were born like that, and then that's how the world began. The day you were born, that's how the world began. Yeah. So basically, the world began when the day you were born. How did life begin? The day you were born. Life began when the day you were born. So basically, how did life began? Like again, the day you were freaking born, that's how life began. In which that didn't answer the fully question though. It actually did. The day you were born, you learn history and all of that. Whether you went somewhere like concert and all of that, you have to enjoy life. So to me, how did life begin? The day I was born, that's how life began. All right, now peace out. It's 12:22, and I'm probably gonna go to sleep.